Hey, good morning. 1st of January 2020. Let the flying begin. I hope you get lots of flying this year. I intend to fly as much as I can. So we're at a new site. I'm going to give you a little site briefing and we're going to have a flight. It's very early in the day. So it's earlier than I normally would fly, but hey, let's see if I can stay up. I'll talk you through it. Maybe you can learn something about catching weak thermals early in the morning and staying up in an unfamiliar site. Quick look at the hazards. We've got a nice launch site here. You can see there's a step or a change in angle on the launch site, so you want to be flying at that change of angle, and that gives you some space to abort. You don't want to go off here, you know, just running still so close to the rocky area. You want to be sure that you're going to clear it nicely. We've got some pretty big rocks which could kick off some turbulence. The danger is if there's a thermal coming up on the other side of the rock, it's likely to just go straight up and you're going to get the turbulent wash at the back end of the thermal. So I'd be very, very cautious. If the wind was coming from this direction, I'd be very, very cautious of taking a collapse somewhere around here, which would then turn you behind the rocks. So I would try and make sure that I'm going through a clear channel, or I'm keeping the glider pointed into wind and keeping very good control, active flying, keeping my legs down and not getting into the seat early. This is really a tricky transition, the first phase. The prevailing wind normally comes in from over there, which makes it a lot safer because you haven't got that rock step. And there you can do the same thing. You want to keep your legs down and just get clear of this transition before you get out there. Other hazards. A classic hazard in the afternoon, you can see that big spine up there. The wind normally comes in from that direction and you can expect to get very powerful dust devil type thermals in that gully because it's kind of in the lee. The wind will be pushing along and then whipping into that gully. So you don't want to be low in there. You'd want to use the spine or be up on the back face or come right forward onto the front to get something that comes off from the valley, goes up the slope and sends you up that way. We're also at a low point in the terrain. There's a mountain range, there's a low point, and then mountains continue, and that usually means that all the air tries to move through that low point, so you get a bit of an acceleration of the wind in the afternoon. You've got fantastic plains out there, so if you're still here by afternoon, you want to kind of head out into the plains, give yourself some space, or go over the back into the back valley where the wind will be less. So I'm not expecting hazards for the morning flight, except that thermals tend to be quite narrow and punchy early in the morning because you only get one little area heating up. So you get like one field or maybe a roof of the farmhouse or some rocks, and the thermals are quite small and they haven't had time to build a big reservoir of warm air. So you get a little pump of hot air and a little bubble, and they can be quite choppy on the edges and very tight. So I'm expecting to turn tight and I'm hoping to stay up. Otherwise, I'm going to be walking from the bottom of the pass, which is not a bad thing because this year is the Expire coming in June, I think. So I need to get these legs a bit stronger than they are. And the only way to do that is have early flights and do lots of walking. Okay, see you in the air. I pretty much always reverse launch, even in zero wind, because it allows you to check that you haven't hooked any of your lines on anything. Keeping the legs down as we're clearing the obstacles. And I'm staying in tight just to see if I can find anything. I'm not expecting to get anything on this ridge. Yeah, but maybe I'll get something. Otherwise I'll go out for the farmhouse. It's likely that this early in the day the flats are working better than the ridge. You can see how sort of choppy it is, and that's due to cool air in the rocks. And that was my last little tester here, just on this ridge. I'm just going to try this little cliff. What's happening here? Still zero, so I'll stay with it. Come around the corner and let just the shape of the ridge is letting this thermal track up. And I can see movement in the bushes ahead, so I'm continuing. Might have been a mistake. I think it's still very light here. So I'm going to go back for that other ridge where it is working. I'm keeping my turn really flat, trying not to lose too much height in the corner. Going back into this area where it was working, somewhere around here. And just a light brake on. So I had lift to here, and now I can start the turn. Trying not to drop the inside wing. So I'm keeping both brakes on, and I'm just converting into the lift before weight shifting out and starting my turn out. Okay, I could have turned a little earlier there. So I'm speeding up, I'm weight shifting, and then I'm braking. That gives you a very flat, smooth turn, nice and tight. Still a little bit of juice in here, I think. I'm weight shifting away, my speed's high, so I've got a good turn if I need it. That's the edge of it there. And I'm out the front, coming around. Now this is starting to weaken out. I think I've gained 1 or 2 meters there. So I'm weight shifting, and I'm out of the front of that. Should have turned earlier. All the way around in sync now. So that's a change. There's a little bit of lift here, but not much, really not enough. So I'm going to continue straight now and hope that the thermal has pulled something else along the ridge, and that there's another little core to work in the next gully. So I'm just staying close to ride the updrafts, if there are any, and I'm looking for another core now. I need one pretty soon. Nothing much here. I'm keeping my speed high, so I've got control for my turns, and I can swing out easily and quickly. I'm pretty close now. This is closer than you should really be unless you've got a lot of experience at doing this. So I'm keeping the speed high again, coming around into a similar position to the last thermal. It was this sort of a shape with a little ridge where the thermal was running up, so we can try this little gully. Nothing there. I'm speeding up, keeping my speed high now on this transition because it's not lifty, so I want to just glide through it. I don't want to waste any time. I'm trying to cover ground now to get to the next good thermal. There's a little bit of lift there, and so I'll turn back for it. Maybe I'll probably lose more height on the turn than I'll gain on this little piece. There was sort of 3 seconds of lift here. 1, 2, 3, and then it's petering out. And swing around, losing a lot of height in that corner. So we go back through the lift again. 1, 2, 3, and 2 there. Going Back through it again, one last time. So 1, 2, I'm letting it drift me close before I do my turn. Turn was a bit late. It's a bit sinky. So now I'm crossing the ridge in the lift and I'm weight shifting already. And now I can swing the turn back, a bit late again. Same again, over the ridge, weight shifting, get the turn back again. And round through here, 1, 2, and turn. I'm still falling out the side of the thermal every time. It's just in the middle here. So 1, 2, and there I should turn. I'm just trying to ride a bit of the ridge. Not much there. I'm going to go back for our other part of the ridge while I've got a little bit of height. Bit of lift there, but not really enough to turn in. So let's just do this transition again back to our cliff, and hopefully that's given it enough time to generate something, another lift cycle. I don't see any movement in the bushes, so I don't expect anything here, and it's early, so it's all shaded, so the air itself would tend to just not move or slide downhill. And I'll only get something if there's some warm air coming up from the valley. Alright, so this is where we had lift before, so I'm ready for it. I'm looking for this transition. There. Is it enough to turn in? Maybe. Little turn there. At least it wasn't sinky in the turn. And I'm coming over the ridge line there to get this turn far back so that I use the maximum amount of this lift there. And I can just scooch over the top and do a turn, bring it around nice and smooth. Same again, using the top of the ridge to sneak my turn in a bit tighter at this point, so I'm not coming out the front of the lift when I'm here at its best point. Alright, now I'm going to try and transition back onto this back face a bit. See what's here. Feels a bit lumpy. Very lumpy. Come around back onto this little knorpel. There's something there. There's a little bit here. Now I'm using the warm face of the rock, I think. It's just giving it a bit of a boost. They've been baking in the sun. So around we go. Won't do a 360, I'm a little bit too tight in here. And there is the lumpy air. I'm not getting much. Sort of headwind at the moment, which means the thermal's pulling off this side. A little bit there, bit of a lump. And swing it around again. Coming forward to catch some of that lift. Right, let's go into the back rock. Onto the back rock face. Hopefully there's something kicking here. It's very lumpy, so I'm a little bit too close for comfort. And there's our launch site. Right, a little bit of something there. And there you go. So I'm slowly maintaining and I'm managing to climb up. I'm going to keep doing this and try and stay aloft until the real thermals come through later in the day. Hope that's given you a good idea of how to stay up in light conditions. Bear in mind, I've got lots of experience at flying close to terrain, so if you don't have the experience, don't be so close. But hopefully this has given you some ideas of the principles and how you can use those to stay up in light early morning conditions. Woohoo! There's a bit of a lump there. Cool. Safe flying. Thanks for watching. Thanks to the patrons. And I will catch you in the next episode. Safe flying. Cheers.